So we'll start with chapter 1, which was when I've had my first episode. So it was in the fall of 2018, so I had just turned 19 the summer beforehand. And so what happened is I was experiencing depression. Like, my second year at Western University got really challenging, and I just kind of studied and studied and studied. I wouldn't really go out and see friends. I wouldn't really reach out to people I usually reached out to. Like, I was literally just in my own rabbit hole of studying. And my parents kind of knew something was wrong in my first year. They never told me until later on. But I went to a party at Halloween, like my first college party. And someone said, "Oh, like, you look like you're wearing your pajamas. That's so cute." And I was like, okay, like, I'm just going to leave. And the whole time I was there, I was thinking about how I could be doing better things, right? Like studying or, doing stuff for myself. And I don't think that's really wrong per se. Like, I just really did enjoy studying and being by myself, right? I'm just naturally more of an introvert person. I've become more extroverted now. But I naturally enjoy just being with myself in my own company, right? Or with close friends. I didn't really feel the need to be in a bar or in a club or at a college party. Like, it was never my scene. And I knew going to Western would have its own challenges because it is a bit of a party school. So that was when I had my first episode. And then the mania, or the hypomania in the case of type 2, came out in January of 2019. And my parents had no idea what happened. And it's because I broke up with my boyfriend and it ended quite negatively. Basically, I thought I was pregnant with his kid, and he was quite religious, but I didn't know it. So he was like, "We're going to get married and have this kid," and it was just really traumatizing for me and the whole thing. And I lost quite a few friends from that. So the biggest thing was lack of sleep, and a lot of doctors said they couldn't help me, right? And there was no room for me at the hospital, and they wouldn't take me and all that, and it was really just discouraging. And even therapists would say, "Oh, if you're not suicidal, we don't really want you, right? Like, we want to help people that are really, really bad, not like you." I was like, okay, like, thanks. Like, I just felt like I just kept hitting dead ends. So I kind of gave up, and it got better towards the summer, right? I moved to Hamilton with my Aunt Wendy and Uncle Eric and volunteered at McMaster Children's Hospital with another person my age. She went to Guelph. So we got to know each other, and we became quite good friends. We worked on just a research project for patient safety and that type of thing, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it, and I got a lot of research experience. I got to work with software, and I got introduced to a hospital environment, and so I really enjoyed it. And so, anyway, that summer, I had just finished my second year at Western, and I wanted to go into nursing school, like to become an RN, but I didn't. I listened to my dad and went to business school, and that's when I started to feel really insecure about myself and stuff like that. And so I went into business school. All was well, all was fine. I did have trouble sleeping and that kind of thing at the beginning. So I had a bit of a hypomanic episode at the beginning. But then I got together with a partner who I was with for almost 3 years. And then I went into a bit of another episode in March. So my episodes were quite spaced out at that point. And it was also the beginning of the pandemic. And then I just had a really bad depressive episode right after that in the pandemic because I couldn't talk to anyone. Then I started a job in a retirement home that I really hated. And so it just didn't really get any better from there, right? So I kept going to the emergency room at Queensway Carleton Hospital because I really wasn't sleeping, and my parents knew that, and I kept waking them up at night when I would get up. So they took me, and it took a couple times, but eventually I got to see a psychiatrist, and his name was Dr. Boyles. And so he initially diagnosed me with depression, anxiety that had led to depression. And it took him from June to October to figure out that I was actually bipolar. That was quite a while. And I do agree with the diagnosis. Like, I do have episodes where I'm more hyper, but I've never really had a depressive episode. And I haven't been on I reduced my medication. I've been off medication since December. So it's been a couple months now, and things are going well so far, touch wood. But ultimately, I don't know if I'll be able to be unmedicated for life, but I'm not severe enough that I have to be on lithium or anything like that, like some people do, which is a blessing. And so I'm unmedicated right now. We're seeing how that goes. I'm trying to focus on getting a handle on my migraines, because I have a lot of migraines too, and if I can get a handle on those, then hopefully my manic episodes or my depressive episodes or both will be less. But yeah, I've done a lot of reading on the subject as well. And the biggest thing that you should stay away from is cannabis, right? Marijuana. Because it does mess with, like, people with mental health susceptibility, it does mess with your brain. In that sense, there's a lot of people that do it regularly and are totally fine, right? It helps them. But for me, it's not recommended. And my psychiatrist, or I have seen multiple, but the one I had, Dr. Boyles, he is retired now. He recommended I stay away from cannabis if I could have an alcoholic beverage, because I would much prefer that, because alcohol is more of a social thing, right? Like a wine tasting every once in a while, or it's Thanksgiving, right? Have a glass of wine, or stuff like that. I would much prefer that, particularly because my family enjoys kind of the nicer liquors, right? They enjoy buying nice bottles of wine sometimes, right? And that kind of thing. So I'd much rather be able to have a glass of wine than use cannabis. Like, I've never really been big into it. I did go through a phase in university, as I said, but ultimately, I don't really need it. And I can do it every once in a while if I want to, but I just tend not to. So, but yeah, so he was my psychiatrist, and I have a lot of respect for him as a doctor, because he worked with the police to take in mental health patients. He would go to the scene where, like, the crime scene, and go in with handcuffs by himself. He'd drive the cop car, and then he'd handcuff the person. And then he would put them in the car and drive them to the police station. And from that point, the police would take over. But that just shows how confident he was in himself, and how diligent and capable he was to talk to someone in a psychotic or delusional state, or just not themselves, right? Some mental health patients are better than others, right? I'm the type that I've always been aware of myself. Like, I can show up to a hospital and there's people who are in a psychotic episode who have bipolar 1 or 2, and they just are not aware at all. And the doctor brings me into a room, and they say, like, that guy that was making a big deal out in the hallway, he has the same disorder you have, but yet you are here talking about your meds, saying you've taken them, having a conversation about how to change them, and what you need from me, and how we can move forward with this. So I appreciate that you're, like, so aware and competent of that. Like, even though you haven't slept well, even though you're really stressed out, right, you still know what is good and bad for you, and what mistakes you have made, either in the, like you don't, like, in the past, right, and how you're not going to make them again, and how you're going to improve, right? So I really respect you for that, in that you're not, yes, it's costing the healthcare system a lot of money for you to be here, but you're not wasting my time. Like, you're trying to be efficient and get to where you need to be. So ultimately that just shows, like, my psychiatrist, Dr. Boyles, his big thing that he said when he closed up my file was, I'm very capable and very able and very bright. I just need the confidence. Like, I just don't always have the ability to believe in myself. And that's a big thing. You have 1 unit of self-confidence. You can't, no one can take it away, but you can give it away. And it's also what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, right? And I have struggled to believe in myself, right? I just have lacked confidence. I was a chubby kid, and I was bullied in elementary school. I mean, a lot of people struggle, right, in elementary school or in high school, right? No one has a perfect life. But it really affected me, because I was like 9 and 10 and 11. And I really didn't like school back then. So, but yeah, it is what it is, right? You can only do what you can, and your parents can only do what they can. And I am where I am today. So I also want to show that even people with mental health issues can still go get educated at university. And I'm doing a nursing diploma at St. Lawrence College right now. I wanted to do nursing. I should have switched to RN in second year, but I tried business. It didn't work out for me. And now I'm doing the diploma. It's easier, and I want to make sure I really like nursing, and I can do it part-time. Like, I don't have to do full-time, which is really nice. So I can work as well. And I work at Shoppers Drug Mart as a pharmacy assistant. So that's kind of my life. That's chapter 1, and a bit about my life in a nutshell. So